The most abstract and what takes the longest to explain an octotheism to someone who has never heard of the religion before would have to be the concept of the angelic tick inflection point and the demonic tick inflection point. So if you haven't read my papers, if you haven't watched a bunch of my YouTube videos, if you haven't done any of that, go do that first and come back here. And you should know what a tick is and what an angelic one tick is before you see this. So, if there are 32 angelic one ticks, and there are each one tick off from a spirit of God, and there are 4 properties that can be ticked, and there are 8 spirits of God, you start with 8 0 ticks. A 0 tick is a spirit of God. And then there's 4 properties, and each one can be ticked. So you get 8 times 4 is 32. That's where the 32 angelic 1 ticks come from. And angelic 2 ticks do exist. If you multiply 32 by 4, you get 128. That's how many 2 ticks there are. Multiply by 4 again, you get 512 angelic 3 ticks, and so on and so forth. But there's an issue. There's an obvious fact. There are a finite number of spirits. So each time you tick, it multiplies by 4, right? Well, that would go on forever, and it would go exponentially increasing. In reality, here's a spirit of God on one end, here's the spirits of the devil on the other end. So spirits of God are here, spirits of the devil are here. As you do the tick, it multiplies by 4, and then it gets to a point where it stops multiplying by 4. This is the angelic tick inflection point. Then it does this curve and it goes back down. Then the demonic tick inflection point, and then it continues to the spirits of the devil. And there is actually an issue with that, because the spirits of the devil will actually appear in 3 different locations, each one in 3 different locations. Like here's the graph. You have the spirits of God here, spirits of the devil here. The devil's going to appear in the middle. They're going to appear 3/4 of the way through. They're going to appear at the end. And actually, they appear in 4 places. They're going to appear a quarter of the way through. The reason for this is there are 4 properties. And if you have a spirit of God, let's say God the Father, you have 100% on the tendency to have anger, 100% on the inverse of the tendency to have forgiveness, 100% on the tendency to have grace/faith, and 100% on the tendency to have love. And let's say Satan, a spirit of the devil, has the exact same property values as God the Father, but love is at 0%. So what is he going to be? He's going to, the devil, if you tick him from God the Father, he's going to appear a quarter of the way through. So what I say with the ticks and the number of spirits corresponding to those ticks, I say no duplicate is allowed. So if you get rid of all the duplicates, it will make this hill shape. And that's what the graph will look like. I want you to watch a video on my channel called A 23-Page Paper on Octotheism.